छुट्टी में कौन खा रहा था? प्रदीप नागरकोटी, तुम्हें खा? Hi, you're with India Post Live, India's first online news conversation web TV. I'm Ishan Russell, and India Post Live is, of course, a forum for you to come in and participate. So use Twitter to get in touch with us. Hashtag India Post Live to your tweets, or use our Twitter handle at India Post Live. You can use Facebook to get in touch with us as well. On Facebook, we are at India Post, we're India Post Live. We have a Facebook page called that. And we also have IndiaPostLive.com, where you can go check this out live right now. We're streaming. And in case you're watching it later, there are other videos for you to watch as well. So go ahead, watch those videos, comment on the wall, and do reach out and get in touch with us. And in case you want to participate, you have a story that you want to talk about, your own story or somebody else's story, well, do let us know. We'll, of course, for sure, put your views out there. Just send us a request, a participation request, and we'll ensure you come into the show via Skype or Google Hangout. All right, today, of course, being Monday, we're talking about social entrepreneurs and, I mean, what best way to benefit society. And often the best business is education, as is said. And SIP Academy, well, that is being the best at teaching maths to students. Yes, math, I was really scared of math, but apparently math is not that scary anymore. I have a young gentleman called Samyak Jain who's here with us, and he's a math prodigy. You used to be pretty normal as math, and now apparently thanks to SIP Academy you've become quite smart. So the SIP franchisee owners Bharti Gupta and Shivaka Gupta are here with us. Thank you very much for coming in, both of you. All right, and we're also joined by Dinesh Victor. He's the managing director of SIP Academy, and he joins us on Google Hangout from Chennai. We're also joined by Shiv Shankar. He's the franchisee owner of the SIP Academy from Chennai, and Seema Vij. She's a franchisee owner of the SIP Academy from Mumbai. So in case you want to get in touch with us and know how you can get to SIP Academy and become really smart in math, well, let these guys help. So I'll start with you, Dinesh, since you're the managing director of SIP and you're the one who brought it to India. What is it all about? How does it function? How do people become really, really smart after going to your academy?
Thanks, Ishan, first for inviting us for India Post. I think it's really a very good opportunity for a lot of people to get to know about how this wonderful program, which uses the Abacus, can make kids what we call more smarter. Let me start. It's very simple, actually, the concept. It uses a very simple instrument called the Abacus. And for a lot of people, maths, like you rightly said, is a very complex and a very scary subject. But the use of the Abacus makes the numbers very simple to understand for kids, because it makes them what we call concrete and not something which they can't imagine. And using the Abacus, we have seen that kids not only lose the fear of numbers, but they end up becoming very good with numbers. And that shows up not just in their arithmetic, but shows up in many other forms. They're almost everything that they study. We think that they improve their concentration, they improve their visual memory, their listening skills, and that reflects in their ability to learn any new thing much better. So that's really a very, I would say, it's a little technical sound, but it's very simple. The idea is kids come to class once a week for 2 hours, and at the end of about a year, year and a half, they're far more, I would say, smarter or far better off than what they were in the start.
All right, and just to prove it all to you that we're not just talking about it in the air, we have Samyak here, who is really a math prodigy. And if I may say, Samyak, I'll ask you a few questions, and let's see whether you can answer. I also do not know the answer to most of these questions, I will admit. It's very tough for me. I had a tough time with math. But okay, so here goes nothing. 6 plus, add 5, add 3, add 0, add 1, add 1, minus 9, add 5, add 8, add 4 would be?
The answer is 24.
Ah, perfect, 24. That is correct. Wow. All right, let's make it a little tougher. Single digits, let's move to double digits. All right, and double digits. Okay. 27, add 97, minus 25, add 52, add 46.
The answer is 197.
Perfect. Not bad. Well done. Well done. All right. Okay. Here's something that I had a tough time with. I mean, how I remember doing math as far as tables are concerned was just sitting and trying to mug it all up, just trying to create a photographic memory out of it. But what about you, Samay? How about 66 into 7 is?
462.
Oh, perfect. Well done, well done. So there you have it. You have a genius in front of you. This is probably certifiable genius. But how does one get to that? Let's ask Bharti and Shivika. How do you get into it? And also I'd like to point out that the franchisees of SIP Academy across India are mostly owned by women. So it's really empowering women also in a big way.
Actually, I was working faculty, working as a part-time faculty in various institutes, but always want to have my own institute. So later on, when I searched for different companies, I got SIP, and their commitment and all that, it was great. So then I started this, and this is a part-time job, and you earn well, you make a future, you empower the women, and there are different CIs in our institute. We give them employment and all that. So that is there.
All right, and the fact is, how did you ever think about doing this? Why, I mean, wanting to be part of education, but then why SIP Academy? Are there any other programs like this? And is it only about math?
No, it improves a lot of skills in the children, their listening skills, their concentration power, and their learning skills. Basically, all the learning skills get improved. We have 3 things in our program, not just Abacus, which is for the maths. We have brain gym exercises, which is an American product. So through that, all their learning skills improve. And we have speed writing. We train them to write faster, which helps them in their exams. So it really empowers all the children.
All right, and how helpful has it been for you, Samyak? I mean, we've seen how helpful it has been for you. But what's the nicest thing? How were you at math before you joined SIP?
Before second, I was very naughty and I get lower marks.
Okay.
After that, it was a C level, C change for me. I was coming first from third.
Oh wow! So how did, I mean, was it a lot of hard work for you? What was it about?
No, it has improved my concentration skills, which has improved my marks.
Overall, in all the subjects,
And
not just
all right,
maths.
so and is it the fact that Samyak is special? Could any kid do this?
Any kid can do. We have a lot of students on all our centers.
What about you? I mean, he was. Tell us. What? Let's hear it from the horse's mouth, as they say.
Sure.
So how is? I mean, do your friends also love this? Is it tough? Is it in addition to your schoolwork or?
First, I think that it is tough, but after doing it for several years, it becomes my hobby and I love it. I love it doing.
All right. So actually, once you start doing well, then I guess you start loving it. And if you're not doing well, then you start hating it. That's why most kids hate school, because they get sort of left behind. So is this a good thing for students to do? I mean, in addition to school, because I mean, at the end of the day, often special attention is not paid to you in school.
Definitely, and moreover, it improves all their learning skills. That helps them in the school program as well.
Okay.
So they do well in all the subjects other than the maths. So it's not just a maths program. So if they join and come to our program, then definitely they do well in other subjects. So it does help.
All right, let's get in a few more students. All right, we have quite a few people coming in. Seema joins us. Seema, thanks very much for coming in. I don't have details on where you're joining from, but if you can just tell us where you're coming in from and who's with you right now. Oh, sorry, Seema Vij, yeah, from Mumbai. All right, we seem to have lost that connection with Seema, but Shiv Shankar is a franchisee owner from Chennai. Shiv, tell us, how's your experience been? Why SIP, and what's so special about SIP? Are there any other programs, I mean, for kids to improve various skills that they can develop?
Let me tell you why SIP. See, basically, if you look at my journey, I was with IT training organizations earlier. I was with Aptech, Pentasoft, doing franchise management, and 2001, 2002 was a time, you know, when business was on the decline for IT, and a lot of people were closing shops, and that was the time I thought I should start it. And I checked up with a few other Abacus organizations, and I felt with SIP, I was convinced at that time that maybe this is the organization I should begin with. And that's how it started. And it was sometime in 2002, I made a beginning here. In terms of the program, like as our other friends have been telling, this really makes a significant impact on children. So if you ask me currently, I think this kind of a program is something very unique and which really makes a big difference in children. That's what I can think about right now.
All right, so how is the learning imparted? How is it so different? Why is it so successful? What is the special formula?
See, basically, acha.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, this is a kinesthetic skill. Like, the more the child do it, the more perfect they are. It's nothing related, like, it activates your brain. Because here we are working with both the hands, right and left. So our both, like, brain are activated in this program. So that is how the child is doing.
All right, so you say but how is that done? This is done through exercises?
This is done by Abacus. There is a tool called Abacus. I don't know.
No, we work
Yeah, the
on
oldest
Abacus.
calculator.
Yeah,
We
that
work on Abacus with both the hands. The concept is if you use the right side of the body, your left brain is
Gets
activated, and if you use your left side, the right brain is activated. So normally, every person is only uses one side of the body more often. If you have to kick a ball, if you are a righty, then you will kick with the right, use the right hand. You don't use left very often. And who are lefty, they don't use right. So one brain is developed, one is not. So in our program, we do brain gym exercises which are with both sides of the limbs. And Abacus also, we work with both the hands.
Okay.
So both the brains are active. So that improves their learning, the listening, everything, all the learning skills gets improved.
All right, Dinesh, do schools also use these often programs? Do they call you in for training to do it at a larger scale? And how many children are being empowered by this? Because if this goes well, I mean, we would have the next Aryabhatta around the corner.
Let me first show you the abacus. I think we were talking about it. This is really what the abacus looks like. I don't know if it's very clear on the picture or not.
Yeah.
It's a pretty simple instrument that you can see. It's got just beads here, and it's just got 5 beads in a column. It's a pretty simple instrument. And your question regarding schools, see, basically this program works. It's like it's a skill development program. It's like teaching, for example, put it very simply, like teaching, say, the guitar to somebody, or teaching someone how to dance, for example. So in a sense, being a skill program, you need to have a little lesser batch size. That's the key to teach skills. A very large batch size is very difficult to teach skills to a group of kids. Which is why the school system doesn't very easily lead to teaching kids the abacus, because the schools typically have 35-40 kids in a class. Whereas if you look at the SIP program and the SIP franchisees, our maximum batch size is only about 15 kids. That gives the teacher enough time to spend with every child. I think that's the fundamental difference between the school way they teach and the way our program teaches kids. The second big challenge is the teacher's philosophy itself. If you look at the school, the teacher's philosophy is I got to finish the portion. So they've got a set portion to finish in about 9 months or so, and they've got to finish that portion in the class. Whereas the philosophy of the SIP teacher is whether the kid has learned the skill. So if it takes 6 weeks, fine. If it takes 7 weeks, fine. If it takes 8 weeks, fine. So it really is about kids picking up the skill, not about teacher completing a portion. So I think these two fundamental differences between the philosophy of the teacher and the teaching system and the batch size makes SIP far more easier to manage in a franchise system than in a school system.
All right, but also one wonders if this kind of a program, does it require a basic aptitude, a basic skill level from somebody joining in, or anybody with any kind of aptitude, whether they're interested, whether they're not, can be developed?
That's the brilliance of this program. It doesn't require anybody with any basic skills or any aptitude, because it's really about kids developing from where they are. And we like to say that very interestingly by having something called, something called a brand promise, where what we do, any child who comes into our program, on day 1, we give them a simple test of their existing skills. So we just give them a paper which got about, say, 50 sums, and we tell them take 5 minutes and see how many you can do. So some kids do 3 sums, some kids do 5 sums, some kids do 8 sums. Doesn't matter, in 5 minutes how many right sums they can do. So really the basic aptitude is different because of whatever reasons they've come from. But what is very interesting is at the end of about 4 levels of our program itself, we are about a 13 level program, so about 11 level program. At the end of just 4 levels, we see that kids can do easily 5-6 times more than what they had done when they started off. So it's really not about equal, but about improving from where you are. So like I said, the attitude of a kid is not important. It's more important to see the progress of the kid from where they are. And the way the kids progress, every kid is far, far better than what they were before, and surely much better than kids who have not gone through this training.
All right, let's also get in a voice from Mumbai. Seema Vij is, of course, a franchisee owner from Mumbai, and Seema joins us with a few of her prodigies. Seema, thanks very much for coming in. How's the experience been for you, and how's the experience been for the students that we see behind you? I'd love to hear from them as well. All right, we'll try to establish that connection with Seema again. But in terms of how expensive is this? What would be, I mean, can any parent afford it? Or do you, what do you do?
Definitely. Any parent can afford it. Any middle class can afford it. We are taking like, around about 900 monthly fees. So that is affordable by everybody.
I mean, that's
suppose
probably less than what you pay for your child's tuition.
Definitely.
So, and then you would not need tuition, because then you can perhaps get your basics corrected. What often happens in school is, I mean, that's what's happened with me with math was concerned, that if you miss out on, like, for example, I don't know how to do short division till now. So that, because I missed out on that lesson, and I was never allowed to catch up, and that somehow I think affects me in the long term. So can, for example, a child later, like in their later teens, also come in and pick up skills?
At that time, it is little difficult, right now.
They have studies pressure. They can learn at any age, because we have teachers joining in who learn and then teach. So even we learned when we were like 35, 36.
Okay.
So anybody can learn, but school children who are in 10th and 12th, they have their pressures of studies in the school. That's why we take from 7 to 12, that's the perfect, but even if we get 13, 14, we need to counsel them a little and tell them you have to start from the basics, ABC you have to learn, and then go up. And if they join, they definitely improve their skills.
All right, Samyak, you've been sitting quietly, so tell us what has been the most enjoyable experience. When was the time that you realized, wow, I can really do math?
There was a talent hunt show in my school in which I performed Abacus skills. Everyone clapped for me. It was amazing moment for me.
Right. So, I mean, that is great, Shiv, isn't it? To hear such young stories of doing well at school, doing things that I mean, often what happens in school, you get the notoriety, it becomes the sought after thing for kids. But such a program is empowering children in such a way that you want to do good at the good things as well in school.
Sorry, I was not able to hear properly. Could you please repeat?
Yeah, I'm saying just the fact that for children often this becomes a medium to go for the good things in school as well, like studies. I mean, often what happens is children think of studies as uncool and would rather be naughty. But if you really are good at studies also, this sort of encourages more students to get towards that direction, doesn't it?
Definitely. A program like this, it helps them. In fact, it really motivates them, it inspires them, the ability to do things very fast, they get motivated and they do better at school. So it really helps them and motivates them.
All right.
They like doing this.
All right, but Dinesh, as far as this becoming a global platform, global phenomenon is concerned, how far are we from that? Because the way things are going and what the brilliance that Samyak has been sharing with us, I'm sure watching this, a lot of parents would want to send their children to SIP Academy.
Yeah, I think there is a student with Shiv Shankar, a boy called Harish, who would be quite an interesting experience because he finished a program 7 years ago. Maybe you can just ask him, and it will be very interesting to listen from a student who finished a program 7 years ago.
Yeah, Shiv, why don't you get Harish in as well?
Just a moment, he is coming. Just a moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Harish. Thanks so much for coming in. So, Harish, apparently you were a child prodigy at SIP 7 years ago. How's life been since?
It's been pretty great. I mean, what do you call, my life totally changed.
Okay.
I become so famous, popular. Really love it.
And what kind of fame have you been getting, and what kind of popularity have you been getting? What have you been doing? What do you do now?
I'm doing my MBBS third year, pre-final year presently at Changalpet Government Medical College. And
And how was it? I mean, how Samyak over here, of course, has been experiencing it firsthand in terms of how to use both parts of your brain to become brilliant. But how was it for you? How were you? What kind of a student were you before you came and did this program, and after now?
before I joined this program, I was a kid, a normal kid, just like a. I mean, I initially didn't like this, but once I started winning competitions, I could feel a change in myself. That confidence, that simplicity, and that what do you call that some feeling that you can't express in words. Actually, you get it. Like it reflects ultimately on your studies and your way of behaving and your way of talking. Everything changes actually in this program. Like you can feel a change after 3-4 years. Like immediately overnight, you can't expect such things.
So, Dinesh, ultimately, it's also a lot about confidence building at the end of the day. So, I mean, skill development certainly does lead to confidence building, and that is perhaps one of the most important things for the child to have.
Ishan, like you rightly said, to build confidence, you need to have some skills. You just can't build confidence if you are not good at something. You know? So the SIP Abacus program really helps children to, in a sense, dream or visualize, do whatever they want, because they can see that they're really very good in terms of what they can do. And at a very young age, this kind of confidence rubs off as you grow older and just stays with you as you grow older. And that's why you can see the confidence in the children. You can see them right away when you talk to them itself. The kind of confidence that they exude is really something that not very easy to get in normal kids. The other point that I want to answer, which you had asked just before, was about this global phenomenon. While it's wonderful to see this program, but the real secret are the teachers and the franchisees. They are the real, you could call, heroes for this program. No doubt the kids are the products, but the real people who work hard are the franchisees and the teachers. So it's really about getting passionate people who believe in making a difference and are willing to put that extra effort. No doubt there's a good return, they make some money. But there is that extra work that they have to put in the few months of time before they see the results. So really, to make it a whatever global phenomenon or whatever you call it, even in India phenomenon, you need more and more people who are, I would say, passionate about making a difference to kids and willing to put in that time to make a difference. That's all that is really lacking, I would say, to make it a much larger phenomenon than what it is currently.
All right, but one has certainly seen the results, and I'm sure even after watching this show, many parents would be sending their kids to SIP Academy. Or if you want to become a franchise owner, you can get in touch with Dinesh, or you can get in touch with these guys as well. Also, Seema, finally, we're through with you. Thanks very much for coming in from Mumbai. You have a lot of young girls with you who apparently are also child prodigies. So why don't you introduce them to us and tell us how their experience has been while we wrap up this show.
This is Namrata here. She's currently doing her Grandmaster's third level at BNC. And behind me, I have Anshika Adri, who's doing her GMD.
Hi.
And to my left is Aditya Prasad. He's also doing his GMD. Hi, say hello. Hi.
So guys, how's the experience been? How tough is it? Is it like going for regular class? Is it like going for tuition? What would you compare the experience to?
It's a whole lot different than the other usual classes and tuitions. You don't just study, you experience and you learn and you understand. And it's a really fun and educative experience.
All right, Seema, how's the experience been for you as a franchise owner? I mean, how tough was it to start with? And I believe that most of the entrepreneurs in this regard, especially your franchise owners, are women. I mean, we have two of your colleagues from Delhi in the studio over here. What about you? How's your experience been?
SIP came into my life as a godsend opportunity at a time when I was actually, choked up into the accountant's job for a decade and a half in the advertising industry. I took this opportunity wherein I could utilize my free weekends and spice up little bit my bank balance also. Within 2 years, things were started positive, and after I quit my regular job, and I would actually thank SIP for giving me this opportunity uh, and the freedom of entrepreneurship.
All right, the freedom of entrepreneurship. That's a nice way to wrap up our show for today, because we're, of course, doing it's Monday and it's social entrepreneurs that we're talking about. Thank you very much, Bharti and Shivika, for coming in. And Samyak, you're a brilliant guy. We wish you all the best for your future and keep shining like you've shown on our program today. Also, thanks very much, Dinesh. Thanks for bringing this to India, and thanks for creating child geniuses like Samyak and many other. And Harish, of course, is one of your products who's doing really well. So, Harish, all the best in your future endeavors. And also, thanks very much, Shiv, for coming in, Seema, and all you girls over there. Thanks very much for joining in, and all the very best for your future. So, these kids have their future sorted. If you want your kids' future sorted, well, you could send them to SIP Academy or do something about developing the skills. Often, you might not know where your skills lie in your child. So, try to discover them, and perhaps you might have a child prodigy in your hands. All right, on that note, we'll wrap up. Thanks so much for watching.